All right, joining us more for the global impact of the U.S. elections is Maria Cowles, Associate Dean at American University of International Studies. And of course, here in the studio, Yukon Huang, Senior Associate from the Carnegie Asia Program. Both of you, thank you very much for joining us. The latest numbers show that the president is gaining a lead over Mitt Romney. And a lot of people are asking, not just Americans, but people around the world, who's really better for global trade when it comes to these two candidates? And we'll start with you, Maria.
Well, it depends on your perspective on this, of course. With Romney as a free trade candidate, you know, in terms of opening up free trade, he would definitely be someone who would be very forceful in the WTO discussions. But I think that Obama is really much more someone who people view as a partner on these solving world issues, whether it be the monetary crisis or trade issues and the like.
Yukon?
Well, I certainly agree that people perceive President Obama as less confrontational than Romney. But in principle, Republicans tend to be more open and supportive of free trade. President Obama has come forward with this Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is supposed to strike trade relations between Asia and the United States and other countries. And it's very strange because it excludes China in that relationship. Romney has come forward with a proposal of a broader trade relationship, which actually includes China. Yet Romney is more confrontational. His first proposal, for example, is that if I'm elected, I'll declare China as a currency manipulator.
Well, and therein lies sort of the double-edged sword to this entire discussion. On one hand, the president or whoever's in the office has to be tough on countries around the world in terms of free trade. But at the same time, especially in the case of China, the United States has much more similarities with China in terms of trade than almost any other country on earth.
Well, yes and no, because when you look at trade flows between the United States and Europe, they are really quite tight. And I think that the discussions that are now occurring between the Obama administration and the European Union, talking about the creation of a potential transatlantic free trade area, this notion of working together with the United States and the European Unions to promote job growth is something that I think is going to be very enticing in the future.
I mean, I think the Asian trade with the United States is complicated by the fact that Asia trade tends to be made up of parts and components produced in several countries, which are then assembled in China and exported to the United States. Then they show up as a huge China trade surplus with the United States, and it creates all this friction with America, who has these huge deficits. The great irony is that most of China's trade surplus with the United States is actually accounted for by three other countries: Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, who I would call very strong political allies. It's much tougher for the United States to come down hard on them as it is to come down hard on China.